But for you today, we're exploring some really ancient wisdom. It's a perspective on, well, what causes societies and families to break down.
And it's quite a stark perspective, as you said.
It is. It hits right at the foundations of community, of order. We're looking at how, according to these old insights, maybe just one thing going wrong can ripple out and unravel everything.
Exactly. We're focusing on three specific Sanskrit verses today, verses 41, 42, and 43.
Okay.
They come from a text called The Ruin of Family and Social Order. Pretty direct title.
Doesn't leave much to the imagination.
Not really. And these verses lay out a very specific chain of cause and effect, almost like a domino rally.
Right.
So our mission really is to trace that sequence, to understand the logic behind it step by step, and, get the full impact of its message about societal decline.
It sounds fascinating. A glimpse into how they saw the world, the balance needed for society.
Definitely. It's about that delicate balance required for social harmony as they saw it.
Okay, let's jump in. Verse 41 is the first domino then.
That's the one. It sets the stage.
The source text says, Adharmathi bhavat krodhuyanti kulastriya, which for us means something like when unrighteousness, that's adharma, right? When that prevails,
Yes.
the women of the family become corrupt. That's a very specific starting point. It links this big societal issue, adharma, directly to the family, specifically the women.
It is specific,
Okay.
and that link is key. Understanding adharma here is important. It's not just, someone breaking a law.
Right, it's bigger than that.
Much bigger. It's like a widespread decay in morality, in ethics, a society losing its way from what's considered right or dutiful, a kind of systemic rot.
Okay, systemic rot, I get it.
And the text argues that this general state is the catalyst, the starting point. And from that, it says, comes the corruption of women of the family, kulastria pradyanti.
So the women's corruption isn't the cause of the rot, but a symptom or a direct result.
Presented very much as a direct result, a key indicator, almost like a canary in the coal mine for the society's moral health, according to this view.
That's quite a perspective. It flips how we might think about it today.
It can be challenging, yes.
And the verse keeps going, connecting more dots. It says, Streldusu vodnye yajade vartsakerd, meaning when women are corrupted, there arises unwanted progeny, vartsakar.
Yes, vartsakar, and that follows directly from the corruption.
So we go from societal unrighteousness to corruption within the family, specifically women, and then immediately to this vartsakara.
That's the chain presented in verse 41, and this term, vartsakara, is crucial for what comes next.
Okay, tell us more about vartsakara. Unwanted progeny sounds simple, but I suspect it's more complex.
It is, much more so. It's not just about kids who weren't planned in a modern sense.
Right.
In this ancient context, the varnas were the fundamental social categories, the sort of building blocks of society often tied to lineage and specific duties.
Like classes or castes, but maybe more about function.
Function and duty, exactly. Each had its role. Varasakara means the mixing or blurring of these categories.
Ah, so it's about social structure breaking down.
Precisely. It represents the fear that these distinct roles get confused, that the social machine breaks down because the parts aren't functioning as designed. It's a disruption of lineage, duty, order itself.
Okay, that makes the stakes much higher than just unwanted children. It's about societal chaos.
That's the implication, yes, a threat to the very fabric of their society.
So that's the first ripple. What happens next? Verse 42, you said, details the consequences of this varasakara.
It does, and the consequences are severe.
The verse goes, Sakaro narakayava kulaganana kulashaka, which translates to, such unwanted progeny leads the family destroyers. Who are the family destroyers?
The Kulaganam. That refers back to those considered responsible for starting this whole chain reaction, those who allowed adharma to flourish, leading to the corruption, and the varasakara.
Okay, so it's pinning responsibility. No. And it leads them and their clan where?
To hell.
Nakayava.
To hell. That's unambiguous. It suggests, what, a spiritual damnation?
It certainly signifies a severe spiritual downfall, yes.
Yeah.
A state of suffering or disorder. And crucially, it's not just for the individuals deemed responsible.
Right. It says, and their clan. The whole lineage.
The entire lineage, yes.
Yeah.
The impact spreads outwards, affecting the whole group. It's a collective punishment, reflecting a worldview where responsibility was often seen as communal, not just individual.
A very different way of thinking about consequences.
Very much so.
And it doesn't just affect the living or the future. Verse 42 also mentions the past, doesn't it?
It does, and this is a fascinating layer.
It says, Patanti Pataro Hae Alipta Pataka Kriya, the ancestors.
The forefathers fall, yes.
They fall because they're deprived of offerings of food and water, the Pecha and Udaka.
Exactly. Peta and Udaka, these weren't just symbolic gestures back then.
They were vital. Absolutely vital. There was specific rites, rituals, believed to sustain the ancestral spirits, to ensure their well-being in the afterlife. Think of it like a spiritual lifeline.
Okay.
And the implication here is that when Vadasakara happens, when the family structure and lineage gets disrupted, these essential rites can't be performed properly. Or maybe they're neglected altogether.
Because the people who are supposed to do them aren't in the right place in the structure anymore.
That seems to be the idea. And as a result, the ancestors suffer. They're deprived.
So the actions of the living or the consequences of those actions directly impact the spiritual state of the dead.
According to this text, yes, it's presented as a severe spiritual penalty, showing just how deep these repercussions go. Past, present, future, all interconnected.
That's incredible. A truly holistic, if quite stark, view of cosmic connection.
It really is. A disruption in one area creates ripples everywhere.
So we've gone from unrighteousness to corrupted women, to unwanted progeny blurring social lines, and now to suffering for the living clan and the ancestors. Where does verse 43 take us? The ultimate consequence.
Verse 43 brings it all together to the final stage of ruin.
It starts, Doer etai kulaganana vorcha sakarakarakai.
Which basically means, by these evil deeds of the family destroyers, those who cause this Vartsakagar.
So it's summing up everything that came before, the whole chain.
Exactly. It's highlighting that it's the cumulative effect. Not one single act, but this whole destructive sequence, driven by those initial family destroyers. All those steps together have led society to this final point.
The critical mass moment.
You could say that. The point of no return, perhaps?
And what is that final point? The verse concludes, Utsadyante jati dharma kula dharmashka shevara.
And this is the hammer blow, really.
Meaning?
It means that the eternal family traditions, Kula Dharma, and the social order, Jati Dharma, are ruined, destroyed.
Okay, let's break that down. Kula Dharma's eternal family traditions. That's like the specific customs, duties, ethics within a family lineage.
Precisely. The very glue holding the family unit together, spiritually and socially.
And Jati Dharma, the social order. That's the broader structure. The duties and norms of one's community or social group.
Yes. The functions and rules that make the larger society work, according to this worldview.
And both are ruined. What does ruined mean here? Is it just damaged or?
The text uses the word utsadyante, suggesting eradication, being uprooted, destroyed, and significantly, it calls them shevate. Eternal, which underscores just how profound and irreversible this ruin is considered. It's not a temporary slump. It's presented as a complete collapse of the foundational structures of society and family life.
A total systemic failure.
That's the picture painted by these three verses, from adharma all the way to the destruction of eternal traditions and social order.
Wow. It's quite a specific and intense framework for how things fall apart. This step-by-step, almost deterministic pathway to ruin.
It is very detailed, very sequential.
What really strikes you the most about this chain reaction laid out here?
I think it's the profound emphasis on interconnectedness, how nothing happens in isolation in this worldview.
Right.
The source gives us this clear, though maybe challenging for us today, model. It links personal righteousness, or the lack of it, adharma directly to family integrity, and then scales that up to the stability of the entire social structure.
And even connects it back to the ancestors.
Exactly. It shows how deviations from their prescribed norms cascade outwards, affecting the past, the present, the future. It's a very holistic, if quite rigid view. One flaw, one break in the chain, and the whole system is threatened with collapse.
It suggests that for them, there really wasn't a private sphere. Everything had public, even cosmic consequences.
That seems to be a core message, yes. An almost ecological view of society, where every part affects every other part.
So we've taken this deep dive into three really potent verses from the ruin of family and social order. We've looked at this ancient perspective on what keeps things together and what, well, tears them apart.
It's certainly a compelling model, very detailed. It shows how tightly interwoven individual actions, family structures, and the broader social and even spiritual order were believed to be in that tradition.
From that initial adharma right through to the collapse of those eternal traditions, a real ancient systems analysis, as you put it.
Indeed.
So here's something for you, our listeners, to think about. Considering this ancient view, this chain reaction of decline, where unrighteousness leads to family breakdown, which leads to social chaos, even affecting ancestors, how does that idea of interconnectedness strike you today? Do you see echoes of that kind of connection between, say, individual choices, family stability, and the health of society and the world around you? What parts of this chain of ruin seem familiar, perhaps? Or maybe what lessons could this very ancient, very stark perspective offer us now as we think about building resilient communities?